My name is Emily. I am 24 years old. I am from Manchester, England. I am single, and I finished my university studies in linguistics. Now I do research for some universities. I study and research different languages. I read about how people speak in other countries. I learn about grammar, words, and sounds in many languages. I think learning about languages is very interesting. It helps me understand people better. I would like to travel around the world. I want to see many countries. I like to learn new things about people and their lives. I also want to visit famous places and beautiful cities. I think traveling will teach me many good lessons. One day, I met a boy on a language app. He is Japanese. His name is Ryuzo. He wanted to learn English. I wanted to learn about Japan. I always loved Japan. I watched Japanese movies. I liked the way people live there. I enjoyed the beautiful places in Japan. The nature, the houses, and the streets all looked so nice to me. We talked for 6 months. We talked about food, culture, music, and dreams. One day, Ryuzo said, "Emily, you should come to Japan." He said, "I want you to see my country." He smiled and said, "You can visit my home and meet my family." I was very surprised. I said, "Really? Are you serious?" He smiled and said, "Yes, my family lives in Osaka. You are welcome." I said happily, "Of course, I will come." I was very happy. I said, "I love Japan so much. It's my dream to go there." I felt excited to visit a place I always wanted to see. I told my parents I am getting ready for a trip. I am going to Japan. I already know about Japan, but I want to know more. My parents both work. My dad is a lawyer. My mother is a librarian. My parents are really great. They always help me to reach our goals. The day I was leaving for Japan, my dad came in my room. He looked at me kindly and said, "I trust you, Emily. I know you are grown up now. But please promise me something. Take care of yourself. And don't forget to stay in touch with us. Let us know you are safe and happy." He smiled, but I could see worry in his eyes. Then my mother gave me a wad of cash. "I want you to have this." "Mom, there's a lot of money here," I said. She said, "Your father and I have saved this money. We want to pay for part of your trip to Japan." I thanked them and said, "Thank you for trusting me. I will be careful. I promise to call you and send messages." We left the house. We went to the airport in Mom's car. I was very excited. This is my first trip alone. I had never traveled without my family before. I felt a little nervous, but I was also very excited. It was a new adventure for me. I wanted to see the world and learn new things by myself. My plane took off. I was going to Osaka. My plane landed in Osaka. My friend Ryuzo was waiting at the airport. He was holding a small flower in his hand. "Welcome to Japan, Emily," he said with a warm smile. I smiled too. "Thank you, Ryuzo. I can't believe I'm here. I knew him for 6 months through the internet. We talked almost every day. I knew everything about him, but when I saw him in real life, for the first time, I felt a little shy. It was a strange feeling for me. We had talked online for many months, but meeting face-to-face is very different. It feels like you are meeting a new person, even if you already know them online. We walked together to the train. Everything looks new to me. The signs are in Japanese. People are quiet. Everyone wears a mask. It feels very different from England. The train is very clean and fast. I look out the window. I see trees, houses, and small shops. Ryuzo sits next to me. We start talking. I said, people are very quiet here. Ryuzo said, yes. In Japan, we try not to make noise in public. We respect other people's space. I said, that's interesting. I like it. It feels peaceful. We arrived at his house in the afternoon. It was small but beautiful. The roof was black and the doors were made of wood. His mother opened the door. She was wearing a simple kimono. "Konnichiwa," she said and bowed. I bowed too and said, "Konnichiwa, nice to meet you." Ryuzo's father came. He smiled but said nothing. He bowed too. Ryuzo gave me a pair of soft slippers and said, "Please take off your shoes." I knew before that people in Japan don't wear shoes inside the house, but I forgot. I said thank you and put on the slippers. I felt a little embarrassed, but they smiled and were kind to me. We sat in a room with a soft floor. It was called tatami. There was a low table and cushions, no chairs. His mother brought tea and small sweets. I tried the tea. The tea tasted different. It was a little bitter. Ryuzo said, "It's green tea. Very traditional in Japan. It is healthy." I looked around the room. There was a picture of an old man on the wall with flowers beside it. I asked, "Who is that man?" Ryuzo said, "That is my grandfather. He passed away last year." "We remember him with flowers and incense," I said softly. "I'm sorry." Ryuzo said, "It's okay. He lived a good life." That night, I slept in a small guest room. The bed was on the floor. It was soft and warm. The next morning, I woke up early. Sunlight came through the paper window. I heard birds outside. I was really in Japan. This was not a dream. I opened the door and walked quietly to the living room. Ryuzo's mother was already awake. She was cleaning the floor with a small broom. She smiled and said, "Good morning, Emily." I smiled too. "Good morning." She pointed to the kitchen and said, "Breakfast soon." We sat at the low table again. Breakfast was very different from England. There was rice, soup, grilled fish, and pickles. I said, "Wow, this was breakfast?" Ryuzo laughed and said, "Yes, Japanese breakfast was healthy and light." I tried a little bit of everything. I liked the rice, but the taste of soup was very new to me. Ryuzo's mother said, "Miso soup is very good for your body." I nodded and said, "It's warm and nice." Later, we walked outside. The streets were quiet and very clean. I saw a small wooden shrine at the corner of the road. I didn't know what the place was at first, but Ryuzo explained it was a shrine, a place where people prayed. I saw a woman standing in front of it. She bowed and then clapped her hands twice. After that, she closed her eyes. Later, we stopped at a tiny restaurant for lunch. It looked old but cozy. There were no chairs, only small stools. The walls had many pictures and writing in Japanese. I looked at the menu, but I couldn't read it. Everything was in Japanese letters. Ryuzo smiled and ordered for me. He said we would try ramen. It smelled amazing. I picked up the chopsticks and tried to eat the noodles, but they slipped and fell back into the bowl. We laughed, and he told me I would get better. I kept trying, and little by little, I did better. The ramen was hot, salty, and full of flavor. I loved it. It was the best noodle soup I had ever tasted. Ryuzo told me food was a big part of Japanese culture, and they believe food is a gift. People thanked the food before eating, and they ate slowly and quietly. We walked together all day and saw many interesting places. Ryuzo told me there will be a festival in town. He said it happens once a year. There will be music, food, lights, and people in colorful clothes. I was happy and wanted to go with him. I had never seen a Japanese festival before. I was curious and excited. Ryuzo's mother gave me something very special, a light blue yukata with soft pink. She told me it had belonged to her daughter. I said thank you many times. She helped me put it on, and she tied a big belt around my waist. When I looked in the mirror, I hardly recognized myself. I looked different, more elegant, more calm. A yukata is a traditional Japanese dress. It looks like a kimono, but it is lighter and easier to wear. Many people wear it at summer festivals and fireworks shows. A yukata has many colors and beautiful patterns. Women, men, and children can all wear yukata. We left the house just before sunset. The air was warm, the sky was orange and soft, and the streets were full of people. Many wore yukata like me. There were red and yellow lanterns hanging above the roads. They moved gently in the breeze. The smell of grilled food came from every corner. The festival was alive with light and music. I tried many new foods, small round balls with octopus inside, fried noodles, and sweet ice with syrup on top. It melted on my tongue and made me smile. Everything tasted new and exciting. I especially liked the cold shaved ice. The festival felt warm. Not just because of the summer air, but because of the people's kindness. As the sky turned dark, we found a place near the river to sit. Many people were already there, waiting for the fireworks. I watched the small lanterns floating on the water. They looked like little stars. I sat quietly and breathed in the moment. Then the fireworks began. One by one, they exploded above us. Red, green, gold, blue. The sky was full of color. Each sound echoed in my chest. I had never seen anything so beautiful. Everyone was quiet and watched. There was no noise. There was no hurry. There was only light and beauty. That night, I didn't speak much. I didn't need to. I felt full of joy, full of memories, full of peace. I thought to myself, this was one of the best days of my life. A few days after I arrived in Japan, Ryuzo's mother asked me if I wanted to visit the local school. She worked there as a teacher. I smiled and said yes. I wanted to see what a Japanese school looked like and how it felt. That morning, we walked together to the school. When we entered the school, everything looked clean and neat. Japanese students clean the school every morning before classes start. It helps them learn responsibility and teamwork. We walked into a classroom. The children stood up and bowed politely. We bowed back. I had never seen such respect in a classroom before. It made me feel special. Students in Japan usually wear a school uniform. Lunch is eaten in groups, and students help serve it. They worked like a team. Everyone knew their role. No one complained. It was part of their daily routine. This teaches them cooperation and discipline. There was no talking while eating. The room stayed quiet, just the sound of chopsticks and bowls. They worked like a team. Everyone knew their role. No one complained. It was part of their daily routine. After lunch, they took a short rest. Just 10 minutes. It helped them feel fresh for the next class. One weekend, Ryuzo and I spent the whole day exploring Osaka. It was one of the most exciting days of my life. First, we visited Osaka Castle. It was a tall, beautiful castle with white walls and green rooftops. It stood in the middle of a big park with trees and flowers. I climbed to the top of the castle and looked out at the city. The view was amazing. I thought about the history of the place. A long time ago, samurai lived in this place. I felt like I was inside a storybook. Then, we went to the Osaka aquarium, called Kaiyukan. It was huge. I saw sharks, jellyfish, sea turtles, and colorful fish swimming all around us. The tank was so big that I felt like I was walking under the sea. My favorite part was the giant whale shark. It moved so slowly and looked peaceful. In the evening, we walked through Dotonbori. The street was full of people, shops, and food stands. Bright neon lights were shining everywhere. I saw a big crab sign that was moving. Many people were taking pictures. The smell of takoyaki, fried octopus balls, was in the air. I ate one. It was hot and very tasty. The place felt full of life and energy. It was very different from the quiet parts of the city. Finally, we went to Universal Studios, Japan. It was like stepping into a movie. I saw characters from Harry Potter, Minions, and Jurassic Park. I rode a roller coaster and screamed so loud. We laughed a lot. It felt like I was a kid again. At night, I was tired but happy. I looked at Ryuzo and smiled. Osaka is full of life, I thought. It has history, beauty, fun, and magic. I will never forget this day. Suddenly, I saw something in his eyes. A warm look full of love and kindness. My heart felt a little shake. It was a new feeling for me. I quickly looked away, so he wouldn't notice. After a few moments, I looked at him and said, "Thank you for inviting me to this beautiful city." Ryuzo looked at me with kind eyes. "I'm really glad you came," he said. "I wanted you to enjoy Japan. I'm happy you had fun." The lights of the festival were still shining behind us. People were laughing, talking, and walking around. The sound of music was in the air. I looked up at the sky. The stars were bright. The next day, we went to Shinsaibashi Shopping Street. It was a long street with many fashion shops. There were famous brands and trendy clothes. Many people were walking, shopping, and taking photos. After the modern shops, I walked into a traditional part of the market. There were small wooden shops and old-style signs. People were selling handmade items, fans, kimonos, and sweets. I saw a man making candy right in front of me. It was fun to watch. I really enjoyed the traditional side of the market. One of the handmade necklaces caught my eye. I said, "They worked hard to make it look perfect." Ryuzo looked at the necklace and said, "It's very beautiful, isn't it?" I nodded and said, "Yes, it's very artistic." On the way back to his house, Ryuzo gave me a beautiful wooden box and said, "Please accept this gift from me. It's to remember this special day." When I opened the box, I saw the same beautiful handmade necklace inside. I felt very happy and also a little shy. But I smiled and said, "Thank you," with joy. Then I told him, "Please help me put it on." "Wow," he said, "it looks really good on you." I smiled and laughed softly. Then I said, "Thank you again." That night, Ryuzo's mother said, "Would you like to see one of Japan's beautiful traditions?" I said happily, "Yes, of course. I would love to see it. Thank you so much." I was excited and curious. I knew it would be something special. In the afternoon, Ryuzo's mother and me went to a special tea ceremony. She said, "Today, you will learn something important in our culture." We went to a small room in the house. The floor was covered with tatami mats. A small table was in the center. On it, there was a bowl, a bamboo whisk, and a pot of hot water. Every movement is slow and full of respect. People sit on the floor and drink matcha tea from a special bowl. The room is simple, but full of beauty. The tea ceremony is not just about tea. It is about being calm and thankful. I thanked Ryuzo's mother very much. I really enjoyed the tea ceremony. In Japan, respect is not just words. It's in their actions every day. Love in Japan is deep and strong, but they don't kiss or hug each other in public. They think it is not polite to show too much love in front of other people. Every day in Japan, I saw something that surprised me. The technology here was amazing. The house looked traditional from the outside, wooden doors and a tiled roof. But inside, it was full of technology. In the kitchen, everything was smart. There was also a small robot vacuum. It moved around the house and cleaned the floor. The toilet seat was warm, It made sounds and even cleaned itself. Even the bathtub had a control panel. I could set the water temperature exactly. When it was ready, a soft voice said, "Your bath is ready." We visited an electronics store one day. It was full of robots, smart TVs, talking machines, and automatic cleaners. Some robots even greeted us at the door. I said to Ryuzo, "Everything feels like the future here." He smiled and said, "We love using technology to make life easier and better." But I also noticed something else. Even with all this modern life, people still respected tradition. They used smartphones, but still bowed politely. They lived in small, high-tech homes, but still sat on the floor to eat. I thought, Japan is a perfect mix of old and new. It's full of surprises every day. One thing I saw every day in Japan was this. People worked very hard. I asked Ryuzo, "Don't people get tired?" He said, "Yes, but we feel proud when we do our best. It's part of our culture." In Japan, people find meaning in working. They believe work is not just for money. It is a way to live with purpose. Every day, I fell more in love with Japan. Everything touched my heart. I wished that one day, people all over the world could live like the Japanese. Finally, the day came. It was time to leave Japan. I had a strange feeling inside. My heart felt heavy, and my feet didn't want to move. Was I feeling sad because I didn't want to leave Osaka? Or was it because I didn't want to be far from Ryuzo? I didn't know the answer. Maybe it was both. My heart felt heavy, and I didn't want to say goodbye. In the time I spent with him, life felt more beautiful than ever. He made every day feel warm and special. That morning, Ryuzo looked at me and said, "My heart is sad. I don't know what will give me energy after you leave. Emily, I have fallen in love with you." I looked at him quietly. I felt the same. We had talked online for 6 months. We never imagined we would become so close in real life. On the last day, we didn't go to any busy places. We just walked by the sea. We talked about everything. We promised we would see each other again, very soon. I asked him, "Will you come to Manchester?" And he said, "Yes, I would love to." I thanked his mother and father deeply. They had welcomed me like family. Then Ryuzo and I went to the airport together. It was so hard to say goodbye. We were like two magnets pulled together, not wanting to separate. Our eyes were full of tears. We held each other for a long time, and finally, we let go, slowly, painfully, until the last moment, we looked at each other. We didn't speak. But with our eyes, we said, "See you again." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.